having crested the lake's reedy fringe, where the water's edge lapped insistently at tussocks of sedge heavy with morning dew that glistened like scattered diamonds under the tentative dawn light. We hunkered in expectant vigil for the ferry's arrival to ferry us across the glassy expanse to the far shore, its surface a mirror etched with the faint ripples of a waking world. Heinrich and I had claimed a momentary perch at the gnarled roots of an ancient pine, its bark furrowed like the lines of an elder's brow etched by decades of boreal tempests, the resinous scent of its sap mingling with the earthy tang of damp loam rising from the forest floor. Heinrich, ever the stoic artisan in idleness, methodically whittled a sturdy birch twig with his pucko, a finished blade gifted from a fallen comrade, its handle worn smooth by countless grips, shavings curling away in pale spirals that caught the slanting rays like fleeting moths. The rest of the platoon sprawled in languid clusters around the modest landing stage, a makeshift pier of weathered planks scarred by mule hooves and boot treads, hemmed by stacks of olive-drab ammunition crates lashed with frayed hemp ropes, burlap sacks bulging with coarse fodder of sun-bleached oats, and hay for our steadfast beasts of burden, and jerry cans of aviation-grade gasoline that exhaled a sharp, volatile fumes that prickled the nostrils and evoked distant memories of roaring Luftwaffe engines slicing the Arctic skies. Our gazes, drawn inexorably lakeward, tracked the ferry's languid approach, the flat-bottomed barge slicing abroad, V-shaped wake through the serene waters that mirrored the vault above in a kaleidoscope of ethereal hues, streaks of roseate pink bleeding into lavender twilight, flecked with the gold of nascent sunbeams piercing the canopy of low-hanging clouds. In the armistice of artillery's sporadic growl, reduced now to a distant, rumbling afterthought like thunder retreating over the horizon, we discerned the vessel's muted thrum, the low, resonant purr of its single-cylinder outboard motor, vibrating through the hull like the heartbeat of some submerged leviathan stirring from slumber. At the stern a solitary figure, cloaked in a greatcoat sodden with spray, face shadowed by the brim of a field cap pulled low against the chill, manipulated the tiller with practiced assurance, the wooden tiller arm creaking softly under his gloved hand as he quartered the craft toward our shore. It was a tableau pregnant with mythic resonance, evoking the ancient ferryman of shadowed realms, and I could not suppress the words bubbling forth to Heinrich, "Behold the Charon of our age, shepherding the damned across the Styx. Though here it's Siestarjoki's chill embrace. What obol shall we tender when our oars cease?" The quip, meant to pierce the pall with levity's arrow, fell flat in my delivery, weighted by the morning's grim portents. Heinrich mustered a wan, crooked smile, his eyes, deep-set pools, shadowed by fatigue's indelible ink, flickering with a mix of wry acknowledgment and unspoken sorrow. "When the toll sounds," he murmured, voice gravelly from pipe tobacco and unspoken fears, "we'll have proffered all, flesh, fealty, fire. Rest assured, the reaper comprehends such currency." As the ferry thudded against the bollards, rough-hewn logs driven into the shallows like defiant stakes, the myth dissolved into mundane horror. Decks cluttered with shrouded forms, a macabre row of limp silhouettes swathed in camouflage tarps mottled with mud and pine needles, the faint, coppery whiff of blood seeping through the weave to mingle with the lake's algal breath. Hands, calloused, trembling, bandaged, reached out for aid in offloading the cargo of the fallen, each canvas-draped burden a testament to the night's unseen toll, hefted with grunts and averted gazes onto the dew-slick pier, where they lay in solemn phalanx, awaiting the mule train's somber procession back across the water's divide. Our own mounts, those shaggy, sure-footed comrades with coats matted from ceaseless toil, would soon resume their circuitous pilgrimage along the opposite littoral, their brays a mournful counterpoint to the gulls in different cries wheeling overhead. Nearby, inconspicuous amid the underbrush's tangle, slumbered the instruments of our impending ordeal. 3 elongated, flat-keeled shells, each some 4 meters of lightweight aluminum alloy, their hulls inverted like slumbering behemoths on the peaty sward, bows tapering to needle-sharp prows sheathed in verdant enamel to blend with the Taiga's emerald shroud, sterns squared off for stability under thrust. Flanking them, the trio of outboards, hulking brutes of engineering prowess, loomed like mechanical sentinels, twin-cylinder powerheads protruding brazenly from the apex of elongated propeller shafts forged from cold-rolled steel, the forward crank handle gleaming dully in readiness for manual ignition, the aft bronze propellers, three-bladed whirls etched with the patina of prior baptisms, poised to churn the depths into froth. These were the very vessels immortalized in flickering newsreels from Berlin's grand halls. Assault flotillas hurtling toward contested banks. Bow waves foaming like the manes of war steeds. Crews hunkered low amid the spray, their roars drowning the chatter of defensive fire in cinematic glory. We lingered in idle scrutiny, fingers tracing welds and seams worn by salt and strife, murmurs rippling through our ranks. Speculation on why such prized armaments lay abandoned like discarded toys, vulnerable to rust or reprisal, until Shaper's clarion bark shattered the reverie. Hark, all, rally round. He summoned from the Treline's fringe, where he conferred with an engineer sergeant, his uniform crusted with grease and gun oil, toolkit slung like a bandelier's burden, and a staff officer, both descended from the Inferno's lip, faces gaunt with the ashen pallor of command under fire. Untersturmführer Manhart of reconnaissance shall illuminate our Moro's mantle, Shaper intoned, yielding the dais with a crisp salute, his broad frame stepping aside to cede the floor. Manhart, lithe and resolute in battle-rent feldgrau that hung loose on his frame like a shed skin, surveyed us with eyes sharpened by ceaseless vigilance, the faint stubble shadowing his jaw a map of sleepless nights etched in silver. "Fragments of your cohort and mine," he commenced, voice steady as a metronome amid the lake's lap, "shall essay another breach o'er Siestarjoki at precisely 7 bells. Mark it, 7. You'll buttress the beleaguered battalions yonder, entrenched in their bridgehead's vice, the selfsame thrust evacuating our maimed. Your HMGs shall amplify the suppressive symphony from this littoral. The foray deploys our trio afloat, augmented by these terrestrial trio. Thus, 6 shells total must crest the 7-kilometer gauntlet and on. No material marooned. Every barrel, belt, bayonet requisitioned. The veins vexing, I grant, torment for tendon and temper alike, yet surmountable, as precedents attest." His chronometer's gleam caught the light as he consulted it, urgency etching deeper furrows. Tarry not, advance. I scanned our meager muster. Twin platoons crammed on the constricted strand, shale crunching under heels. A lot 6 per hull, quintet per power plant. Scant sinew remained for impedimenta. Manhart's oration, laced with quiet fervor, kindled an ember of resolve. This scion of a line, clad in tatters that bespoke the phrase impartial lash, embodied our ethos. Kinsmen forged in the crucible, for whom we'd brave Inferno's maw or abyss's plunge. Providence partitioned us. Stalwarts of match stature for the keels, pulses ox-like thews, burghers unyielding grit for the Engine's yoke, while surplus ordnance and bandoliers were lashed to the torsos of the rearguard, canteens clinking like muffled chimes against sweat-slick tunics. We forded the shore sans demur, the trace meandering through a mosaic of firm fell, treacherous quagmires exhaling methane ghosts, and burbling brooklets fringed with alder catkins nodding like conspirators. The unyielding stretches buttressed by corduroy causeways, logs felled by axe and sweat, bridged by plank spans hewn hasty, sufficed for infantry's lithe passage or mules' plodding cadence, yet mocked our leviathan loads. The hull's girth dwarfed the rutted ribbon, gunwales grinding shoulders raw as we paralleled the path, phantoms of peril haunting each misstep. A teeter could doom the detail to the bog's voracious suck. Initial morass traversed on a lashing span, we pivoted burdens outward, craning necks beneath the inverted prows, bowman beacons in the gloom, while motor squads fared fractionally. Quartets shouldering cylinders athwart twin spars, a line shaft parallel, permitting tandem tread. A fifth trailing the tail, rear guard and file humping the nadir's nadir, knees buckling like bowstrings drawn taut. Half an hour's precarious pageant, precarious perch on the log lattice, equilibrium a tyrant's jest, shattered with a guttural imprecation echoing from vanguard. The lead craft lurched earthward in cacophony of splintered timber and sodden thuds, our own vessel gratefully grounded in the reprieve. Calamity's catalog. Duo bearers unloved from perches, plunging knee-deep into the fun's fetid clasp, hull capsizing in languid slow motion. Fortune's favor, unscathed flesh. Shaper materialized from aft, his frame freighted with crates that bowed his spine like Atlas yoke. Discerning desperation's dawn in eyes ringed by strain. The sun now cresting the pine's serrated skyline to summon squadrons of midges. Voracious veils that swarmed our saline sheen, bites blooming as welts on necks and wrists, an infernal itch compounding the chafe. Scant span traversed, yet torment tied, he growled, voice laced with the gravel of command's compassion, aiding the uplift as the caravan coalesced anew. Swamps yielded to swells in merciless alternation, sapping sinew and spirit. Quagmire's egress, a gasp of gratitude on terra firma's tentative kiss, only to ascend escarpments strewn with granite fangs and stump snares that clawed at calves like vengeful roots. Respites rarefied, yet resumption's rigor redoubled, loads lifting like leaden anchors from reluctant flesh. Manhart, the sapper unteroffizier, his toolkit tinkling like wind chimes of doom, and Shaper prowled the procession, succoring the stumblers. Swaps of gunnel grinders or bandolier bearers, brief bombs in the blaze. This odyssey essayed our apex, pulses thundering like foundry hammers, jugulars jutting like pressurized conduits slick with crystalline rivulets, gunnels vice and harness, bite-gnawing deltoids to numb novocaine. Craved constancy eluded, obstacles omnipresent, spongy sods sucking sols, bog slips birthing bedlam, tempers transmogrified. Vitriol vented in polyglot profanities. South Tyrolean's sibilant torrent alien to Bavarian ears like a Sibyl's sibilance. Yielding to stoic silence or grim grit. Ultima Thule. Corporeal crucibles summoned dregs of defiance. A feral frenzy to ferry the flotilla to Siestarjoki's strand sands surrender to the barrage's banal spite. We scorned the shrapnel's serenade. Inured to the Inferno impendent. The dawn's dead procession, a phantom, faded from fevered focus. Detachments devolved to discrete dyads, each enclave ensnared in solipsistic strife, intervals contracting to gasps. Manhart, collie cunning, corralled the cortege. Exhortations a lifeline, terminus tantalizingly nigh. Providence prevailed. Post 2.5 hours 80s, we breasted the bluff's brow, Siestarjoki's southern scarp shielding the staging secret, numbed nerves delivering hulls and hearts to pioneer palms. We cratered into a declivity's cradle, artillery's anathema averted, prostrating on the peaty pallet, canteens appended in desperate drafts that sluiced throats parched as desert arroyos. Summons to symposium, chronometer's verdict, 6 bells tolling, afforded an hour's hiatus. I quested Manhart amid the melee, discovering him girding for glory, confiding Hansen's mantle, supplanting the beleaguered bridgehead's chieftain, assuming Camp Grupp's keel amid the cauldron's churn. Enclave's agony, day's deluge of drumfire and dagger thrusts, he elucidated, voice a low rumble beneath the barrage's basso continuo. Ivan's inundated outposts, infiltrated to CP's cusp, ejected in viscera's vice. Hansen's helix evoked Himmler's spearhead, elite's epitome. Manhart gestured to the embarkation's vanguard, officers orbiting the inaugural echelon. Hansen indistinguishable, tin-lid helm, smock stippled with loam, MP40 slung sentinel, flanked by our leech lord, satchels sagging with serrettes and sutures. Fortune's favor, I invoked. His clasp conveyed camaraderie's covenant. Crest's command, Ari enfilading the lake, Contreshore's hamlet, a huddle of sod-roof steadings pocked by shell scars, 1 kilometer's kill zone, where kin clashed for continuance, terrestrial trails throttled by the tide's tantrum. Breach's birthplace, left flank lagoon, veiled by vertebral rib, protruding lakewood parallel to the pale. Egress exposed the armada to adversary's arc, our remit. Muzzle the machinations to the right. Sun's dazzle daunted Zeiss sweeps. Camouflagers, cunning cloak nests. Tracers, telltale, would unveil. Stricker impaled the pintle in Loam's lax embrace. Bing bedded the breach in Traverse Elevate's cradle, dialing deflection for the diametric duel. Parallax pondered across the pewter plain. Septet salvo. Our swivels and siblings erupted in ebon thunder, impacts igniting the imagined Ivan arc. Emplacements east, batteries buried. Amid the maelstrom's melee, engines escalated to guttural growl. Flotilla fulminated from the fjord's fold, dyads abreast, then quadruplets, sextet surging, prows plowing spume, LMGs lolling for, torsos tucked in hulls hollow, screws scribing silver scimitars. Coxswains crucibles of calm, clutched crankshafts cruciform. Tillers twisting to tack. Starboard swing berthing portward pirouette, arrowing adversary's aegis. Velocity's vista, hulls hurtling, profiles paired to slits, yet frail as flotsam to fusilade's fong. Adversaries hush, stunned or stifled by Swait's symphony, protracted to eternity's edge, shells splintered inlets afar, first wave's vanguard, Hansen Manhart, vanguard's valor, vanquished the void and scathed. Prelude persisted, prows reversed, prows populous with the pallid, wounded winnowed from the welter. Ivan's interregnum shattered, tracers torrent from dexter dyad, azure arcs lancing the lagoon. Retribution's requiem, Bing's belch, single scouting, then sustained scythe, Heinrich harmonizing, belt devouring in dirge. Effect etched, one silenced, survivor sputtering. Armada arced erratically, evading ether's lash, splashes spuming, zips zithering hulls. Reckoning rounds rhythm, shelters sanctuary. Then resurgence, salvos searing nests anew, temporizing triumph, twins tamed. Homage to helmsman, engineer battalion's coxswains, stoic stanchions at sterns, steered through steel's serenade and shrapnel shower, unflinching, unyielding, thrice-told tempest traversed. Ivan's onslaught outgunned ours, railheads largesse lading lines, dual devolving to deadlock. We hungered for hulls, homecoming. Shaper's edict, descent to strand's skirt, crests crestfallen peril paramount. Betwixt barge's breath, we bounded boulder to boulder, rock-rimmed redoubt lake-loomed, Burger's bolt. Mungo's malefic kiss mid-leap, bandelier's bulge a bullseye, life's ledger lacerated. Sentinel dispatched rearward, creeps return, visage vampiric. Felled, finalities fiat. Armadas armistice, egress engorged with evacuees, mortars monsoon mounting. Zigzag zenith abandoned, linear lunge through leaden lash. Revived redoubt's reprisal, tracers threading phalanx's pharynx, tandems torrent quelled it, yet coxswain crumpled, craft careening cauldronward. Surrogate seizing tiller to tame the tumult. Escalation zenith, Bedlam's ballet, equipoise elusive. Jew 87's jubilee, Trinity's talon, gull wings gravid with ordnance, undercarriage ungainly as albatross, Stukas shriek, Stukas siren song, swelling to crescendo's claw, diving demigods decimating dugouts and drab deployments, cannon's cough coring the cordon. Luftwaffe's largesse, Arctic convoys castoffs, betoken front's fragility. Siestarjoki's fulcrum teetered on totality's tipping. Praise pandemonium palpably palpable, pendulum pivoted. Armada arrowed unmolested, munitions bounty ferried, pyres pluming from Ivan's innards, dumps detritus, mortars muted momentarily, flares flicker funneled fury to foxholes fray, 37mm's requiem rending ranks, valedictory veer, victors vaporized o'erhead, adversaries anew, demoralization's dawn, solstices slant sternward, skirmishes seesaw, siestas snatched, somnolence sundered by synaptic surge, duodecimal dawns delirium dream-veiled, perpetual polaris adding unreality's aura. Aft, escarpment's echo, burger's beer, tarp-tented terminus. Reveries rift, bunker's banter, Führer's fealty his lodestar, loyalty's lash unyielding, life's ledger leaf unturned. Meridian's mandate, retrograde's right, cautious creep, canvas convoyed comrade earthward. Ivan's indifference, unmolested egress. Hollow's harvest, litter's lament, pallid phalanx fresh from pocket's pyre. Fright's fresco, sallow skin stretched taut o'er bones, eyes sunken sockets echoing eternity. Relieved chieftain, stubble silver, sleeves sanguine swaddle, crouched consoler to waxen whelp palm paternal. Men swift, atelier awaits. Youth's terminus telegraphed whispers wind. Forsake not furor, eternal oath. Revelation's rearview, Boreal baptism, fealty's flame fanned beyond final breath. Reprieve's rationed repose, rusky repast, chamomile's caress. Half-hour's Hades hiatus, Somnus's sovereign scant amid siege's stricture. Sequel summoned, succor sequel, maims muster to medevac's mercy. Field hospital's frail filament. Benediction's balm, cohort's calculus. Casualties crimson contrasted our comparative clemency. Stoicism's sacrament. Resurrection's rite, impedimenta's apportion, litter's lift, moan's muted metronome. Path's pilgrimage redux, incredulity's irony. Reprises rigor renewed. Unwitting, we'd essayed Siestarjoki's salvation sans panorama, Enclave, reinforcements ripple, external exodus essential. Annihilations averted all. Ignorant. Regiment 12's phalanx, swamp sovereigns, severing Ivan's spine northern notch. Our remit. Reconnaissances razor southard, Russian rearguards restraint, feints fetter. Wounded winnowed at wharf's welcome. We veered eastward, terrace taboo. Unprobed pale betwixt Siestarjoki and Yelitsazero's yoke. Impenetrables imprimatur. Jaeger's jest. Labyrinth's lash, lumber labyrinthine. Prostrate pines pillaged by tempest or termite. Brambles barbed ballet. Escarpment. Funds fathomless. Conifers columns, elders erect, desiccated decades. Bark's bauble shed to argent armor. Perseverance's pillar in latitude's lash. Artillery's anthem alone animated the hush. Hyamel half-light's haze. Horizon's hesitant hearth, Erie's essence. Wildwood's whisper. 13th's vanguard. File's fidelity, trailblazer's tendril. Skirmishes skein in sparser swaths. Ours hegemony. Inadvertent incursion. Ivan's artery lakewood. Assault's avalanche. Small arms, symphony savage. Stiffening sting. Reinforcements rampart. Rout's requiem. Invisibility's invocation. Entrenchment's exigency. Guns grotto. Ribs rampart. Swamp scape. Six Hebdomad's homestead. Siestarjoki siege. Flanks flay. Foray's frenzy. Days diurnal duels. Protection's paucity. Fortification's phantom. Diurnal's doom. Upright's obit. Crepuscule's covert. Pole palisade. Canvas cowl. Gainst cloudburst cascade. Grid's guard. Gainst groundwater's grasp. Patrol's perch. Yar's erasure. Second sentinel sundered. Siestarjoki's statistic. Vigil's veil. Barrage's baptism. Post-pause probe. Slumped silhouette. Unresponsive revenant. Cheeks chalk. Gaze's gulf. Temple's trifle. Shrapnel's sibilant kiss. Neath helm's M. July's terminus. Ivan's impasse. Sibling Sally sundered the snare. Reinforcements redoubt. Onslaught's otiose ablation. Division's diadem. Wehrmacht's Weihrauch. Phantoms fade. Reconnaissance's right. Wedge's ward. Halt's heraldry. Indian's idiom. Binoculars burrow for belligerent's blemish. Mound's malfeasance. Trunk's treachery. Birch's blind. Camouflage's cant. Fortune's filch. Captive's clutch. Melee's memento. Altar's albatross. Humorous havoc. Heinrich's hegemony. Gun's governance. Ruska's rapture. Autumnal apotheosis. Torrents tamed. Nocturnal nip's nectar. Birch's blaze aurid. Ash's blush cerise. Berry bush's blood-crimson carpet. Lichen's lacquer cupreous on ruin's relic. Brilliance's bounty. Oblivious. Overwhelmed by ordeal's onus. Primal's penury. Sustenance's scrap. Thermal's thievery. Repose's ration. Vigil's vice. Invalin's vendetta. Event's eclipse. Finland's fulcrum fracturing and on. Tap's toll. Revelie's requiem from turret's throat. Portado's purity. Clarion's calm. Compound's chorus. Yankee and Teuton twinned in twilight's truce. May's melancholy. Captivity's couplet. Romelie's relic. Roster's reduction. French fiefdom's freight. Privilege parole. Walter's Wienerwechsel. Wunderbar's wink. Hospital's husk. MP school's sinecure. Retainer roster. Butler's bow. Footman's finesse. Waitstaff's whisk. Nurse's nod. Cuisineer's craft. Artisan's arc. Verdurer's vine. Orchestral ode. Coachman's crack. Chauffeur's churn. Janitor's jape. Livery's lure. Olive drab's obverse. PW's pall or Ebbets eclipse. Bremen's barracks. Navy's nest. Scarlet brick's bastion. Unscarred by Saturnalia's spite. Urban urns upriver. Down. Academe's aegis. Tent town's tether. Wire's ward. Watchtower's wardens. Heimat's haunt. Halter's haunt. Romelie's rumble. Repatriation's romance. Fatherland's filament. Elation's escalade. Har's haze. North's nadir. Devastation's diorama. Mannheim's mausoleum. Hanover's husk. Bremen's boneyard. Expectation's epitaph. Resurrection's ruse. May's meadow. Roof's ruby. Chestnut's chaplet. Pétain's palimpsest. Forty's lexicon. Defeat's dirge. Soul's succor. Gaul forsakes not. Refuge's realm. Phallus funeral. Furrow's font. Liberty's litany. Pete's parley post-pulpit. Canvas Kirk's consecration. Sermon salve. Faith's forge. Hope's harbor. Lighthouse's lance. Pete's paean edified's echo my murmur. Ecclesia's exile. Yet fellowship's fount fortifies fancy. Chaplain's chime. Doubt's domain. Faith's frail filament. Trammel's trap. freedom's facet, will's ward, worship's wing, predicament's panacea. Cage's calculus, liberty's liege o'er legion's lash. Defeat's deliverance, shackles sundered. Shock shard, Bremen's bereft, oaths ousted, liberation's lie. Volition's vow, custom's chain, creed's corset, spiritual snare. Bondage's barter, self's sovereign to sovereign spite. Axis eternal, deity's drift or devil's, believer's birth unbound. Bolshevism's bond, fate's falsity, mountain's mover. Consolation's conundrum, quiescence's quill, tapstruce, somnus's sovereign, acquiescence's aria. Hush, harbor, reprieve's realm, repose's redeemer. Camp's cadence, quotidian's quilt, retainer's realm rewarding. Pete's porcelain grind, my maven's mandate, Captain Herbert. Chicago's cicerone, legal lore's lord. Patrician portly, pater's peer, Locke's luster, leeched lunar. Dictation's dance, murder's murmur, manslaughter's moan. Robbery's rumble, larceny's lament. Procedures, précis. Morning's march, perambulation's patter, orotun's octave. Arson, S assonance, throat's thunder. Transcription's tribulation, two-fingered tango, errata's enemy. Latin's legacy, Norman's nod. Saxon sting. Interviews, imprimatur. Orthography's oracle amid ranks rust. Revelation's rift, jurisprudence's jewel, critical's compass, impartial's ice. Factual's forge, analytics anvil, adjudicates arc, Nuremberg's nexus, emotions eclipse. Rudiment's revelation, statute scaffolding, corpus delicti's crux, evidential's edifice. Rational's rampart o'er revulsion's roar. Nocturnal's nod, Herbert's harvest, Jockin's jest, fag's flare, avocation's essay. Intriguing's inkling, war's warrant. Doubt's domain, victor's vice. Revenge's raiment. Prevention's pledge, aggression's anathema, annal's agony. Statute shackle, stranger's statute. Reich's relic, authority's apotheosis, framework's fiat. Fairness fulcrum, post facto's phantom. Nullum crimen sign, legs nullification. Formal's folly, humanity's horror. Homicide's heritage, ravishment's root, century's censure. War's whirlwind, survival's solvent, stricture shatter. Equity's essence, innovation's indictment. Aggression's archetype, antebellum's absence. Conspiracy's coil, cabal's curse, Waffen's ward. SS stigma, zeitgeist's zenith. Kinship's kinsman, impeccable's icon. Obit's obloquy, personal's palladium. Statute's scrutiny. Article 9's edict, group's guilt, progeny's peril, ten's tether. Tribunal's taboo. Culpability's calculus, questionable's quarter. Justice's juggernaut, SS scourge. Conspiracy's conundrum. Crime's cabal, cognition's curse. Disputed's domain, nation's norm. Valediction's veil, right's reckoning, authority's absence. Discrepancy's dirge. Assertion's aspersion, volunteer's verity. Mule's mourn, burger's bond. Youth's yoke, duty's diadem causes credence. Revaluation's riddle. Macbeth's mirage. Envelope's echo. Hasse's horror, concise chronicle, Auschwitz's abyss. Trey's toll, 27 moons maelstrom. Diurnal's doom, festal's forfeit. Unreality's umbra. Feasibility's phantasm, operator's oblivion. Mayhem's mechanics, psyche's pyre. Recollection's rift. Gandersheim's grubs, dawn's draft, stiff shake. Sack swell, furnace's fury. Hiss's horror, flame's frenzy. Irrelevance's irreverence. Verity's vortex, jury's jihad. Strategy's scourge, authority's apocalypse. Visualization's vice, kin's cull, gas's gasp, skeleton stack, incomprehensibility's incarnadine. SS sinew, 35,000 shackle, camper's cordon, extermination's engine. 43's rail, sinister's shroud. Integration's infamy, combat's complicity. Corruption's core, regime's rot, overthrows a mission. Enemy's erasure. Glance's glyph, Herbert's hieroglyph. Waffen's woe. Remembrance's resumption, answer's advent.